Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Gavinsky's Tutorials. Today I'm just going to walk quickly through 3 of the really cool features that Continua by Audio Damage has had in its latest update. So this is March 2026. A brilliant, very generous new update that I think some developers would absolutely have tried to charge people for as a paid upgrade, and this is just a free upgrade for existing users. Also, at the moment, this is only $7 for the iOS version, which is a really great bargain. But do stick around because I've noticed a few things. Like some of them are just limitations, maybe technical limitations, and some things are maybe bugs. I'm not sure. So I think I should point those out to anybody who doesn't have this, and if you're thinking of buying it, so you can make an informed decision. And that's what this channel is all about, everybody. I really do want to be one of those channels that's just only saying positive things about apps all the time. So if you appreciate that sort of honesty and so on, smash the like and support me on Patreon as well. Thank you so much to those guys who are over there. So, if I go in here, let's just get this preset here nearly clear. This is one of the factory presets. I'm going to play it with the internal keyboard, even though that keyboard is really hard to play. But I'll explain why in a minute, why I'm going to just stick to using that. So we have a few things. So one thing, we have now an arpeggiator. And if you're using the internal keyboard, that's why I'm using the internal keyboard, it will let me turn on the arp without me having to re-trigger those notes. It won't do that with external MIDI, sadly. I don't know if there's any way around that. So we got an arp. And let me just change this patch. Let me see if it'll hold when I change this. No, so I need to re-trigger again. Okay. So let me just re-trigger those. So arpeggiator is turned on, and we've got the usual sort of controls: range, rate. What I like is its drop-down menus. I always ask developers, please use drop-down menus for this kind of thing, because it's always going to be more musical, usually, to jump to the specific rate you want, rather than having to drag through intermediate rates in a live performance. So I'm really happy that's been done. And it's got a bunch of different arpeggiator patterns here. Let's keep that dotted one, maybe. Okay, so we got a bunch of patterns, and we've also got chance. So, here we've got no notes being triggered at all. Here we've got just a 28% chance that a note will be triggered. One thing I'll say, critical, if you have notes latched here, they're lit up blue. But if you have one of these notes latched, it's almost impossible for me to see that that little blue dot there, because like most people, using my iPad in a real life situation, I keep my brightness down to save my battery, and it's almost impossible for me to see that is latched, so that's a bit annoying. I'd like those dots to be bigger. That's a small thing, mind you. Okay, so this is one thing. So let's just turn the chance up and keep it fairly high. And now let me look at, let me look first at the absolute coolest feature here. So it's this little genetics thing. So this basically creates mutations of the patch that you're playing now, the preset you've loaded or whatever. And the further away you get from this root node, the more dramatic the changes will be. And if I get something that I like, I can just press apply, and it will save that as the new root and it will generate a preset. You know, it'll have this name, and then I can just save it using the internal preset system, right? So that's if you press the apply button. There's regenerate. That's making me latch it again. Okay, so also though, what's great is you can control over here which things will actually get mutated. So, you know, you only want the oscillators and filters mutated, for example, then that's what it's going to be doing now when I press this. But now I could bring in, say, envelopes and press this again, and it'll sound different from what it did just a minute ago. LFOs. I just pressed that again. So let me turn them all on and press that again. Super cool feature, isn't it? And then we have cancel if we want. So there we're just back at the original patch, right? So that's an absolutely killer thing that I wish every app pretty much had. It would be brilliant. Now here, let me just bring the frequency of the filter cutoff up a little bit. And let's look at the third main feature. So, look. Now here I've got, you know, if you see this patch, we've got the original patch, it's 3 analog oscillators. So let me change this one to additive. And then here, you know, we have a few things I can press. I'll turn the level of this up to get, you know, typical waveforms. But we can also randomize, and we can draw on here. I'll bring the frequency down a little bit, but it's not very precise, and you know, I wish you could kind of tap to zoom in on this or something. You can draw here, by the way, but yeah, you know, it's if you're someone that's very kind of surgical with this sort of thing, it's not really going to be ideal, probably. Very limited options here, like there's nothing like, you know, all even or all odd or anything like that. But great to have it, you know, great to have that added. And here, super saw. So let me bring the frequency up. So let me bring the level of the other ones down. So that's super saw. And we have super square, which is beautiful. And then we have this one, IXA. The manual says something like based on some obscure 90s synth, and something about, I think it uses wave folding and phase modulation or something. You'll find the details in the manual. Anyway, just play around with the index and ratio knobs. It's very easy to use. And so now let me bring in the level of the other ones again. And I've just transposed this one down an octave. Right? So, like, what a cool update. It's a genuinely really cool update. But let me just run through quickly some of the limitations and or bugs and stuff that I've run into. So first of all, iOS version is very limited in the number of voices. No, that's in the output section. So maximum 6 voices, it is low, so be aware of that. Another thing, the ARP here is not MPE at all. And that's a huge pity because, I mean, it's totally technically possible to have an MPE ARP. For example, Blease Arpeggiator is a great MPE ARP, right? So, you know, I can't have the ARP running, and like even using the internal keyboard, I won't do any kind of pitch bends or anything. So that's a massive missed opportunity, and I can't see any technical reason why that couldn't be implemented. Another thing, I cannot get MIDI MPE pitch bend to work properly using the internal keyboard. Like if I drag, for example, from a C2 to a C3, it will always be flat. And I mean, I have tried I think pretty much all different options here. But now I can get MPE pitch bend working properly when I use an external MPE controller, like Salome, for example, right? Here I can definitely get it to behave exactly as it should, as long as I set the range in this to 48. But using the internal keyboard, I just cannot get accurate MPE pitch bend. If anybody knows a way around this, some sort of hack or something, or exactly what the settings should be, please let me know in the comments. As I mentioned, I think earlier, if you're triggering this with external MIDI, you'll need to re-trigger your MIDI when you change the synth sound using the genetics section. And that's a huge pity. And I don't know if it's a technical limitation or what. So that doesn't happen if you use the internal ARP being triggered by the latched internal keyboard, right? But if you are using the internal keyboard and you're not using the ARP, for example, you'll also have to re-trigger. So I don't know, is it possible for Audio Damage to make this work differently with external MIDI, or if it's not using its internal arpeggiator? So the problem is, you see, like, yeah, okay, you can get that effect if you use the internal keyboard, but I mean, this internal keyboard is practically unusable. It's you've got so little travel on the keys, and as I mentioned, it doesn't seem capable of accurate MPE pitch bends. So I would really love to be able to put in external MIDI and change this and not have to re-trigger, especially if you like drone music or something. You're going to miss having that ability. Another thing, I think there might be some bugs too regarding the internal keyboard. I'm pretty sure there are. So I've run into problems a few times where keys stayed lit after they were unlatched, and then I would press them. Like let's say this key was still lit, and there was no sound, and I would press this key, and I just wouldn't get any sound. And then if I pressed another key, I would get sound. When I ran into this, the only way I could fix it was to delete the plugin and reload it. Like even changing the preset or something internally didn't fix it for me. I also have, like, I've only played around with this for, say, an hour or something altogether, but I also ran into tons of stuck notes. So it's a really cool update, but honestly, as I think I said earlier, things like stuck notes can really destroy your enjoyment of an otherwise excellent synth. So I don't know, have any of you run into these issues? Let me know in the comments. Okay, I hope this was useful for you guys, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.